Hey, and welcome to a new Flutter tutorial. In this video, I will show you how you can localize your Flutter apps. So let's get started. Over here, you can see I have an empty project, which is the basic Flutter create project without all the comments. And in order to localize this app, let's say instead of printing hello world, we just want to print hello lemons. But depending on the system language, we want to change hello to, for example, hallo in German or hola in Spanish. In order to do this, we need to include two packages. First of all, we need to include the Flutter localizations package. So Flutter pub add Flutter localizations, don't forget the S, and we define the SDK to be Flutter. Another package we need is the intil package. So Flutter pub add intil, and we give it any version. Once you've done that, you should find inside your pub_script.yaml these two packages. So Flutter localizations with the SDK of Flutter and the intil package. The next thing we need to do is add the generate flag to Flutter. So go over here where it says Flutter and then type generate and set it to true. This tells Flutter that we are going to use file generation. Now, in order for the Flutter localizations package to work, we need to create a new file. So go over to the root directory of your project, right click new file, and we call this file l10n.yaml, like so. Inside here, we need to define three things. The ARB directory, this tells Flutter localizations where our localization files are. So we will set it to lib l10n. Then we need to define the template ARB file. This is the file or the standard or default file that Flutter localizations is going to use if it doesn't know which language to choose. So we will set it to app_en.arb. And lastly, we need to define our output localization file, which will be app localizations.dart. Keep in mind that you can change all of these however you like. Now the next step is to create the l10n folder and the app_en.arb file. So let's go to lib, right click new folder, l10n, and app_en.arb. Now inside here we can define our messages or our strings that we're going to use and localize inside the app. ARB files are kind of like JSON, not exactly. So I would recommend you to install the ARB editor extension by Google, which will give you a little bit of syntax highlighting inside these files. So once you've done that, we can start by creating our strings. A very basic localized string would look something like this. You would have a variable name that you're going to use inside the app, and then the string that you want to display inside the app. For example, welcome. Now, in order to localize the string to, for example, German, what we would have to do is go to the l10n folder, create a new file. Now, this will be app_de for German.arb. And we would have to copy the contents of our template file that we defined inside the l10n YAML file. Remember, our template file is the app.en.arb. So every other file needs to look like this file. That's basically what we're saying. So we just copy this, go over to the German version, and instead of welcome, we type willkommen. Now, once you defined your localized strings, you need to generate files. We do this by running flutter gen-l10n. Now, if you have a look inside the .dart tool folder, you will see the flutter gen folder, and inside here, the gen-l10n folder. Inside here are the generated files. There's the German version, and you can see our welcome string is inside in German, and the English version, which is right here, and the app localizations file, which is typically the file that we use inside the app. Now head over to your main file because we need to do some configurations in order to be able to use them. So find your material app. In this case, it's here, and we need to define two things. We need to define the supported locals, which we can get from our generated file. So we'll import it. It's inside package and then flutter_gen. and my IDE is not finding it. So in VS Code, you can actually restart the Dart server. Just type Dart and restart analysis server, which usually fixes problems like imports and stuff like that. So I hope that now we can, and there it is, we can autocomplete it, and it's localization.dart. This file gives us the app localization.support locals, which if we have a look inside it, it's just a string of locals, which are DE and EN. And we need to define the localization delegates, which we can also get inside the app localizations file. Now, the only thing that is left is to actually access the values. And we do this by calling app localizations.auth context dot and the variable name that we defined inside the .arb file. Since this is an expression, it can't be const anymore, so we need to remove it. And this is actually nullable, so we need to put a bang right here. This can get quite annoying, so in order to circumvent this, you can go inside the alternate.yaml file, and inside here you can set nullable getter to false. When you run Flutter gen again, you will see that now our bang that we have here is not needed anymore, so we can remove it. Right now we still have a little problem, which is not that obvious, but once I start the app, you will see that it will crash. And there's a simple reason for it. Since we defined the localizations and everything in this file, the context does not yet have the needed information. So we need to create a new widget. Let's call it homepage, which accesses the context and displays the text for us. So this one will just return the string, and we will return homepage right here. Now this can be constant, like so. And there's our welcome string, which is pretty small. Let me make it a bit bigger. All right, now to test it out, let's go over to the settings of the emulator. So go to settings, scroll down to system, language, and let's choose German. Now if I navigate back to the app, you will see the German string. So this means it works. Everything is set up. Now, of course, if you need more localized strings, you would go into the ARB file and just add them. For example, lemon, and in English would be lemon, and in German, so let's go to the German one, it would be Zitrone. Now don't forget to run Flutter gen, so let's run Flutter gen again. And let's display the text to type lemon right here, and there's Zitrone. These ARB files are pretty powerful, and let's see some examples. For instance, if you want a personalized welcome message, we can insert a placeholder. For example, welcome and name. Placeholders are usually delimited by these curly braces. What we should also do is define metadata with add and then the variable name. We can do so. And let's define that we have placeholders, and the placeholder name is of type string, like that. Let's copy this placeholder over to the German file and do it also right here. So it will be willkommen name, and name is a string. So if we go back and we run the flutter gen alternate command, you will see that the welcome string is not a string anymore, but it is a function that takes in a name, for example, lemon. And since we're in the German one, we see willkommen lemon. If we change back to English, it will be welcome lemon. Now, another thing that these ARB files allow you to do is pluralization. So let's see an example for that. Let's say we want to display how many lemons someone has. So in order to do this, we will define a variable. Let's call it n lemon. And now we will have a expression inside this string. So let's say you have, now comes a placeholder. So let's put the variable called count, where we need to tell it that this is a plural. And if the count value right here is 0, we will display no lemons. If the count value is 1, we will display 1 lemon. And if the count value is more than 1 or any other value, so other, we will say count lemons, like so. Let's also define metadata for this variable. So again, add n lemon. And we say that we have placeholders, and the placeholder in this case is count. And the type is a number, like this. Now we run Flutter gen again. So let's run Flutter gen. Oh, and of course we forgot to do it also for German. So let's copy the n lemons and let's localize them for German. So du hast would be du hast keine Zitrone, keine Zitronen. Du hast eine Zitrone and du hast 7 Zitronen, for example. Now, if we run the command again, worked. Let's test it out. So, server welcome, we will type n lemon and give it a number, for example, 0. And it says you have no lemons. If I have 1 lemon, so let's put a 1 over here. It will say you have 1 lemon, and with 2 it will say you have 2 lemons. And of course it works also in German now. So if I go back to German, it says du hast 2 Zitronen. Perfect. And that's all you really need to know about localization in Flutter. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.